students, 11 Commerce. Today I will discuss cost of production. Cost. We have read production. You know, production cannot be done without incurring cost, expenditure. Without spending money, production cannot be done. So, cost is associated with production. What is cost? Now, cost is the expenditure incurred by the producer for the purchase of factor and non-factor inputs. So, it is the cost. Cost is the what is cost? Cost is the, you are not telling. Cost is the expenditure. You know, the money you spend is called expenditure. So, cost is the expenditure incurred by the producer to purchase factor and non-factor inputs for the production. So, factor inputs and non-factor inputs. Non-factor inputs. Inputs. Therefore, factor inputs means, you know, there are 4 factors of production: land, labor, capital and entrepreneur. Land, labor and capital, these are the 3 main factors of production. Then come entrepreneur. Therefore, for land you have to pay rent, there is expenditure. Labor you have to pay wage, this is expenditure. And for capital you have to give interest, that is also expenditure. So, the producer has to incur these factor inputs, expenditure for these factor inputs, that is land, labor and capital. And non-factor inputs, these are raw materials. Raw materials. Non-factor inputs are raw materials, right? Without raw materials, production cannot be done. So, if you want to produce iron bar, you have to purchase raw stone where from you can get the iron. So, these raw materials, coal, these raw materials are also important in the field as cost. Therefore, cost, what is cost? Cost is the expenditure incurred by the producer for the factor and non-factor inputs of the production. This is cost. Without cost, production cannot be done. Production requires cost, that is cost of production we tell. Now, costs are of 2 types: explicit cost and implicit cost. Explicit cost and implicit cost. These are two types of cost. What do you mean by explicit cost? The cost the producers have to incur for using external resources required for the production purposes. The explicit cost is the cost which is required in the process of production from external owner of the assets like land. So it is the cost which the producers have to incur, and implicit cost is the cost which is the cost of self-owned factors, self-owned factors of production. I myself work in my own factory. This is implicit cost, but that is also cost, right? So implicit cost is the self-owned cost, and explicit cost is the external cost which the producer has to bear for the production. So this is the difference between explicit cost and implicit cost. Explicit cost is a payment concept. So it is external cost. Number one, it is external cost. Which the producer have to bear for purchasing but it is self-owned cost. Self-owned cost, self-labor given by him. Self-labor given by the producer on his own land, right? So this is explained in cash payment. There is no cash payment. There is cash payment for the inputs he borrowed. The producer borrowed some factors and the producer has to bear the cost by paying in the form of money or something else. Therefore, that is the explicit cost. It is a cash payment, but in this case there is no cash payment. It is not paid directly to the owner. He is availing it as profit. He is availing as profit, right? So this is payment concept. This is payment concept. Why it is payment concept? Because the producers have to pay something, right, in the form of money as wage, or in the rent, or in the form of interest, anything in any kind. He has to pay to the payer of these factors of production or the labor. Wage has to be given. So these factors are given because of the fact that they are borrowing these factors in order to continue the production. But this is not payment. This is not payment concept. This is not a payment concept. The producer himself is producing the commodity. So this is receipt concept. This is receipt concept. Okay? Therefore, these are important for the difference, these are important points for the difference between explicit cost and implicit cost. these are shown in the book of account. But these are not shown in the book of account. In the book of account. Therefore, you can you can do difference between these two, explicit cost and implicit cost. Suppose implicit cost, a producer uses his own building for production purposes, so he has not to pay any rent for that. But if he would lend it to others for do business, instead of doing business by himself, he would get some rent. He will receive some cash. He will receive some cash, money. But as he is not lending it for business to others, he himself is doing business, so he is enjoying the facility of his own building without giving any rent to anybody else. So he would get rent, but now as he is not lending it to others, he himself is doing, so he is losing that amount of rent. So it is his loss, so it is also received, shown, it is not shown in the account. Now, explicit cost, I think it is clear, is the cost incurred for factor and non-factor inputs which is borrowed from others, and it is self-owned cost by using his own factor of production. It may be land, it may be himself work, that is as labor or worker. He has the capital, he has not to borrow the capital from the bank. So all these are self-owned factors, and this is called implicit cost. So this is, I think this is clear to you. Now there is selling cost. Selling cost. What do you mean by selling cost? In order to sell the commodity, the producers have to bear a cost for advertisement. If you don't advertise regarding your product, its advantage, its benefits, the buyers will not buy your commodity. And they have no knowledge regarding the benefit of or advantage of the product you want to sell in the market. You want to sell on the market. If you want to sell in the market, you have to incur a selling cost. Either you have to give advertisement in the newspaper, in the TV set, in the cinema hall screen, or elsewhere, on the board, on the building by the side of roads, you have to incur some cost which is called selling cost. In order to promote the sale of the commodity he produced, the producers have to incur a cost, and that is called selling cost. It may be through the newspaper, and if you advertise through newspaper, you have to pay the advertisement cost. That is, the producers will have to pay advertisement cost. If it is advertised through representative, sometimes you find some representatives comes in our door to explain the advantage of the commodity and the low price of the commodity, the other benefits of the commodity, so that the buyers may purchase that commodity, and if it is purchased, then the production will run, otherwise the production will not run. So this is a very important part of the production, and for this reason the producers has to incur selling cost. In order to sell his commodity in the market, the producer has to incur a cost that is called selling cost. It may be advertisement, it may be in the form of worker or the persons, employed persons who can advertise the commodity, who will explain the benefits, that is advantages of the commodity to use, its longevity, its composition, its quality, everything, its low price. And you know, when a new product is marketized, the price of the commodity keeps low in order to attract the buyers, so that the buyers may purchase it lower price, considering lower price. Therefore, selling cost is very important in the field of production and cost. This is one of the cost. So selling cost. Now there are other costs, fixed cost, FC, that is fixed cost. And VC, variable cost. Variable cost. Fixed cost is that cost which cannot be increased in short period of time. It is fixed. In a short period of time, the cost which cannot be increased is called fixed cost, and fixed cost is the prime cost, is the essential cost of production. Suppose I am giving you an example. You require a heavy machine in your factory which costs rupees 5 crore. You may give order to the company to supply that machine, but as it is a very heavy machine, the company will take a lot of time to produce it and supply to you. Therefore, fixed factor of production cannot be increased in short period of time. It takes longer period of time. So fixed cost is fixed in the short period. The cost incurred for the fixed factor of production is called fixed cost. The cost incurred for the fixed factor of production, it is called fixed cost. And in the short run, it cannot be increased so easily. I explained it with the example that you require a heavy machine whose price is rupees 5 crore, and you order it to the company, but he will take time to supply it. Then and there you may not receive. So in the short period it cannot be changed. But the variable cost, the cost which can varies even in the short period, and the cost which is measured for the variable factors of production is called variable cost. The cost incurred by the producer for the variable factors of production is called variable cost. Therefore, it can be increased or decreased at a point of time, but fixed cost cannot be increased at a point of time. Even the permanent labor is a fixed cost, which a trained engineer, technician, you may not get another engineer within a very short period if you require. That is, if the owner of the factory requires, you may not get it. It will take time. Therefore, variable cost of the raw materials, you may get it easily. Therefore, this is the difference. Fixed cost is the fixed during a short period, and variable cost is the cost which can vary even in the short and longer period. Right? Now there are so many other costs. Fixed cost, variable cost, total fixed cost, total variable cost, marginal cost, average fixed cost, average variable cost. All these are the concepts related with the cost. The fixed FC is called fixed cost. VC is called variable cost. TFC is called total fixed cost. You will get these terms in the book. Total fixed cost. Total variable cost. Marginal cost. Average fixed cost. Average fixed cost and average variable cost. I have explained fixed cost, the cost which remain fixed during the short period but can be increased in the longer period is fixed cost. Variable cost can be varied with the passage of time if required, and TFC is the total fixed cost, that is TC by TC total fixed cost. Total fixed cost is the total cost incurred by the producer in connection with fixed cost, with fixed factor of production, with fixed factor of production or factors of production. What is fixed factor? Fixed factor is that factor which is not consumed by one act of use. It continues to serve for a period of time. Therefore, these are all costs. We will discuss it later on. Thank you very much. Please stay at home safely and read your book, follow your syllabus, please. Thank you.